A beautiful, painful, and sometimes funny family drama. Let's talk about the good half. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watch Your Past. I'm here to talk about The Good Half, which is coming to theaters on August 16th, 2024. You may wonder why I have this coffee cup. Well, the film, one of the characters in the film has a penchant for acquiring things. She acquires an espresso set, and this is the closest thing I had. It's a small coffee cup. It's not espresso, but it's close enough. But the film is coming to theaters on August 16th, 2024. It is a family drama that has plenty of heart, pain, and also some comedy. My hot take is I definitely think you should watch it. I love this film. I thought it was fantastic from start to finish. It has a great cast, a really kind of like poignant story, and plenty of emotion and heart balanced perfectly. Like the film is a serious family drama, but there are moments of levity in there to lighten up. And I love the cast. I thought it was a fantastic cast. It's kind of a, I don't know, unconventional is the right word, but it's not a cast that you would normally think would be in a serious drama, specifically Nick Jonas as the main character, but they all do really well. This is a really kind of special film that you should definitely check out. So make sure to watch it. So I'm gonna tell you a little more about the film. A few things I like. Really wasn't anything I didn't like about this movie, so we can skip that part. And then I'm gonna really quickly go into a recap and ending of the film. So if you don't know what happens in this movie, I would turn it off when I get there. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler free. I'll let you know when I get to those spoilers. So in the good half, you have Renn, who is a writer in LA. He is traveling back to his hometown of Cleveland, Ohio, because his mom has passed away and he is going for the funeral. So Renn is dealing with the loss of his mother, but he's also kind of like processing emotions in a way that's like tough for others to see. So is he going to be able to kind of get through this? And are there going to be any big heartfelt moments? Well, it's a family drama that I love. So you can guess there probably will be, but you have to watch the movie to find out. So things I liked about this movie. The first, I love the cast. It is a great cast. Like I said, it's a kind of an unconventional cast for this type of a film, but I love them. I thought Nick Jonas was great as Renn. He is a difficult character. Like he is someone that you could easily not like, and he does things that you might not like. I think he balances that like uh, avoidance of his emotions with like some funny moments, some heartfelt moments, and some flashbacks with his mom. I love Brittany Snow. I think she's fantastic, and she does a really great job in this. A more serious role than you're used to with Brittany Snow, but she does really, really well. Elizabeth Shue as the mom is fun. She adds like a, levity, some light humor to it. Her character is just a really fun character in this movie. And David Arquette as like a serious, awkward person was fun too. Like he plays a very different character than I think I've seen him in other movies. So overall, I just love this cast. It's fun seeing them in these more dramatic roles. Second thing I love the storytelling. It has a kind of like flashback type of storytelling. So it takes place in present day, but you'll get flashbacks to moments in the family's lives that kind of like help to frame some of the things that happen. The flashbacks are interesting because they're generally brighter in a different style. So the current time is a little bit darker and more moody, and then there'll be a flashback and it'll have like brighter colors or like a happier mood. It is a nice way to show the contrast between like the past life and the current life. And the storytelling, it doesn't it tells you plenty, but also kind of leaves some to like mystery. You don't ever 100% know what happened to Renn's mom, although you can kind of get the context. And there's also some other questions in the film that are kind of like left out there, but never really like fully beaten into you. So I like that too. I like that there's a little bit of mystery, a little bit of kind of like unknown in this film. The third thing I love the emotion. It is a heartfelt film. It is dealing with loss and grief and, legacy even. And so I loved those parts. They were definitely emotional. They were definitely meaty. And there was one speech in this film that I really loved. It was a fantastic speech. So balancing that emotion, I love the humor. It's not a ton of humor. It's not like a super funny movie, but there are moments of levity in here to kind of like lighten the mood, especially for Renn's character. Renn is a writer. He like tries to do comedy here and there. And so he makes some funny, like sarcastic comments here, some funny, like observational comments here that help to kind of elevate the mood when you need it. So like I said, there really wasn't anything I didn't like about this movie, so I definitely think you should check out The Good Half when it comes to theaters on August 16th, 2024. And I'm going to really quickly go into a recap of the film, so if you don't know what happens in this movie, I would turn it off now because there will be spoilers. So in The Good Half, you have Renn, who is traveling back home to Cleveland, Ohio for his mom's funeral. She has been sick for a while. His sister Leigh called and said that, she had died, and so now Renn is coming back for the funeral. Now, Renn has been in LA for a while. His mom has been sick for a while. It seems like he was out there a little bit, but he hasn't been back in a good amount of time. And it seems like during that time, his mother's condition worsened and she passed away. Renn also appears to be kind of like taking a little bit after his mother. He is ignoring a lot of like what is going on. He ignores his sister's calls, even though she's calling to like talk about the funeral arrangements, talk about getting ready for the funeral and things like that. He ignores all of those. He doesn't have his dad pick him up from the airport. He decides to take an Uber. Seems to be like avoiding the whole thing with his mom being gone, which is, part of his personality. And also, we find out later, part of his mom's personality. Now, when he gets on the plane to Ohio, he meets this like bright, happy, fun person named Zoey. They are on like a window aisle and they start talking in the flight. And he seems very dismissive, but she seems like very fun and bubbly. And so they have a quick conversation. They hit it off on the plane. And when they land, Renn asks if he can get Zoe's number. She's in town for a conference and he's like, hey, you're new in town. Like if you need some recommendations or something like that, like very awkwardly asking for a number. But she takes the bait. She gives him his number. And so now Renn is on his way to visit his family. Now, when he gets there, it's very awkward. Like he kind of sneaks in. There's no fanfare. He just kind of arrives and like his sister comes up. He's like, I didn't hear you come in. He's like, oh yeah, traffic was crazy. And it seems like they are kind of confused with what Renn is doing, but they're just kind of like allowing it because there's so much else to do. So throughout the film, we get some flashbacks about Renn's mom, Lily, and like her personality. And she seems to have a like fun, chaotic personality, probably like chaotic good if you were to describe it in a D&D sense. She is clearly loving. She loves Renn, but she seems a little bit forgetful. The first scene we see with them, she forgot Renn at a store. Like I think she stole something from a store and then like left and was probably like too scared to come back. But she forgot that Renn was there. So she comes back hours later and Renn is there and she has to like apologize for leaving him and promise to never do it again. She also has a penchant for stealing things from like restaurants. She steals like an entire espresso set from a restaurant, which kind of like comes in later. And she and Renn's father got divorced at some point, and she started dating this person named Rick. I think they did eventually get married, so we get a scene with their first dinner together as like a weird new family, and it is awkward as you'd expect. And it seems like she did this meeting because she had to go to some clinic. It seems like she was getting sick. So there are some clues about Renn's mom, and also we get a sense that Renn and his mom are very close. When he is with the rest of his family, he's kind of distant, cold, I guess, like not just like super affectionate. With his mom, he like brightens up, he opens up. He's clearly, her favorite. She clearly loves him. So you get to see the sense of like why there's so much sadness in Renn at this point. So unlike Renn, who is kind of avoiding it, kind of trying not to deal with it, Leigh, his sister, is the organized one. She is doing everything for the funeral. I mean, with the help of Rick, uh, their mom's new husband, he is at least paying for it and helping out a little bit. But you get the sense that Leigh is the driving force behind this. She's like got the schedule, all the things that have to happen, and she doesn't want to do it, but she has to do it. And she keeps asking Renn for input, and he just kind of like brushes it all off or makes jokes about it. There's a funny scene at a like casket store, or there's a funny scene at the funeral home where they're talking about caskets. That is really funny. I laughed out loud in it, but it is also probably annoying if you are Leigh because she is just trying to like get things done and he is just joking. Now, when Renn went to LA, it was because he wanted to be a writer. And so his mom loved his writing. She encouraged him to go to LA. And so he has been trying to become a writer in LA. It hasn't really been working out that well for him, but he is still doing it. He is still trying. But one of the internal conflicts with him is he loves writing, but he has a job and they want to promote him to like supervisor. And he just kind of, as with lots of things in his life, just brush it off. He, told them he had to go to Cleveland for a few days and they're like, we'll hold it for you. Just let us know. We'll keep calling you. They keep calling him. Renn is ignoring this, I think, because if he takes this job, it'll probably be a bigger time commitment and he's not going to be able to commit himself to writing. And also he's dealing with emotional things with his mom dying. So he's pushing that off as well. Now, during the planning for the funeral, one of the things that they do is they meet with a priest named Father Dan. And Father Dan is kind of like this funny, awkward character. But during the conversation, we find out that like Father Dan is actually like Rick's priest. Rick is Catholic. Lily was Jewish. And so Rick is trying to say like, oh no, she wanted a priest. She's telling Leigh that. And Renn is like, that's not true. Like she would have never wanted a priest. Like she wouldn't want to be the center of attention. And part of this scene, I think, is there to show you that like Rick isn't the best steward for their mom's legacy. Like he is trying to get Father Dan to do the service, I think, because that's who he likes and that's who he wants. But as we find out in the conversation with Renn and Father Dan, she never would have wanted this. She never would have wanted a priest. She never would have wanted like a big funeral. This all seems to be something that like Rick wants. And so We get the sense that this is kind of being like steamrolled just to like get this done, and Renn is against it, but there's nothing much he can do. Like he didn't help with the planning. He and Leigh actually have a fight later when she's like, "Well, if you would have like answered any of your calls when I called you 30 times, then maybe you've had a say in this, but you didn't. So this is what's happening." But this does give us the general sense that like this funeral, this whole process is like not what Lily's best wishes are, and it is just kind of like happening because that is just what is going to happen. Now, throughout his time in Ohio, he has been like ducking out late at night to go meet up with Zoey during her conference. They get drinks one night. It's kind of fun. He avoids why he's there. They seem to hit it off a little more. And then the night before the funeral, he goes to meet up with Zoey again, and they go to a karaoke bar and they start drinking. He gets very moody while they're drinking. Like he doesn't like, show up, but he seems to kind of withdraw a little bit. And eventually he gets a call. He goes outside to like take it, and Zoey comes out also, and they're talking. And Renn finally opens up more to Zoey. When they first talked, he said he was like from here and he was kind of visiting family. And then she asked later, and he said it was a family reunion, which is not a lie, but it kind of is a lie. Like he's here for a funeral, but there is a lot of family coming around now at this karaoke event, after he's drank, after he's like a little bit more moody, he finally opens up to her, and he says why he's actually home. That he's there for a funeral. His mom died, and he didn't want to say it out loud because he didn't want it to be real. And then he explains, you know, and he explains something about his life, which is also where the title of this movie comes from. He says that he doesn't know how to explain it, but it's like there's two halves of his life. There's the good half before his mom got sick, and then there's a shitty half after she got sick. And that's the side that he doesn't want to learn how to deal with. That's why he's like avoiding emotion now. That's why he's like trying to like put everything off. He doesn't want to acknowledge that his mom is dead. But I think the fact that he is now talking to Zoey about it is kind of acknowledging. Now she is a psychologist, so this is kind of perfect for her to do. And so she is just very supportive of him. She's just like very nice to him. And Zoey asks if she can come to the funeral tomorrow. He says, okay. And then he says, I think I'm ready to sing. And so then he goes into the karaoke bar. He sings, I'll stop the world and melt with you. It's cute. And I did like that, it's Nick Jonas. There's a karaoke scene. He is singing. It's kind of a nice way to work in Nick Jonas's talent. And also into a part of the movie that feels, that like it wasn't shoehorned in. Now at the funeral, Father Dan is up there saying things that Renn knows aren't true. Like he says that Lily loved gathering, she loved catching up with people, she loved watching movies. Things that are completely not true, as his kids know, but they are what Father Dan was fed. Now, during this, Renn stands up and goes to the podium, and I was like, oh man, is he gonna just like unload and like say this would be terrible? This is something that she would hate. He doesn't. That would have turned it into a very different movie, but he doesn't. He just tells a story about, that story about when his mom left him at the store and how he desperately wishes that he was that kid again, because then he knew his mom was coming back, and that now his mom is gone and she's not coming back, and he just kind of wishes that he was that kid again. And so it's a sweet story. It's very emotional. And then he kind of like sits down. He gives his mom's casket a kiss before he sits down, and then they go and bury his mom. And then they have a reception. And at the reception, Renn is there, Zoey's there, the family's there, and Renn sees Rick laughing. So he goes up to Rick and gets in an argument, and they kind of go at it. They like yell at this funeral, kind of like Renn accusing Rick of not giving a damn. Rick, telling Renn, like, where were you? You weren't here. You were her favorite. Why weren't you here? They argue for a bit, and then Rick storms off. And afterwards, Renn is sitting on the stairs, kind of drinking, and Leigh comes up to him, and he like says, Leigh, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you keep everything together. And Leigh tells him that she's a mess. There are some hints here that maybe there's like some marital problems with Leigh, although you never find out. Like I don't think her husband shows up to the funeral. She said that he's working, and we don't really get much more information. I think that there's probably maybe there was some more to that story that they didn't want to like bring in to this film to like jumble it up. But Leigh says that her life is a mess, and then she comforts Renn because she says, that story you told at the mall about, being left, like she says, essentially she was jealous. Like she knows that, he was left in the store and it was scary, but she was never invited to the store. And that she, I think, is more like her father. Renn is more like her mother. So Renn was clearly the favorite, and she's not mad about him. She's like, I know that mom loved me, but you were her favorite. You were more like her. She avoided me because I think she reminded me, because I reminded her of her dad, who they were going through a divorce at the time. And so she says because of this, she doesn't have memories of their mom like Renn did growing up. She has them now because of the last month, because she spent the last month with her mom. She says they're not warm and fuzzy, but they're with her and they're mine. And so she says, Renn, you got the good half with her and I got the bad, but I wouldn't trade that for the whole world. And so she then goes on and says, Rick is right about some things, but he's wrong about you coming home because that's exactly what she wouldn't have wanted. She wouldn't have wanted him to come home because if Renn came home, then that would have acknowledged that she was sick and that it was very serious, and she wouldn't have wanted that. She wouldn't have wanted it to be real. It's a really sweet speech. I am not doing it justice. You have to watch it to see it, but it is beautiful. And also, I did love like how it ties into the film too, like the good half and the bad half, and how Leigh is fine with her bad half because that's hers. That's her memories of her mom. That's her time she got to spend with her, and that is something that she will hold, dear. So. Afterwards, Rick comes by and drops some stuff off. It is not as much stuff. It actually feels like the film goes a little bit longer than it has to, although there is some nice like family resolution, so I understand why. Rick drops off some stuff from their moms and like locks them out of the house. And so then the family goes and like breaks into their mom's house, now Rick's house, and takes a little thing. They take the espresso set that she had stolen earlier that we've seen a couple times. We saw some flashbacks where she acquired it. And so they take the espresso set and each person gets a piece of it. I think Leigh got the cup, the dad got the saucer, and Renn got the spoon. And it was a sweet moment. It's like they wanted to take something from their moms and like have it as their own. And later the next morning, Rick comes by with some more stuff saying he's sorry. And it seems like he is like realizing that now he is alone and that this is the only family he has left. And so he's like, hey, like, let me know if you need anything or call me. And the family's just like, bye, Rick. Now, the night of the funeral, Renn goes and meets up with Zoey after, and she asks if he's okay, and he says no, but he will be. And then they finally kiss, and then they talk. It's very cute, and she says like, I feel like we're two people that shouldn't be dating because she's a psychologist. She knows, like, she's a psychiatrist. She knows that they are both messed up. She is going through a divorce. He is in a very emotional space. So I don't know if they're going to end up together. The film doesn't like let us know, but at least they have this moment. At least they were there for each other when they needed to be. Maybe they'll end up together. We don't know. We also know that Renn is going to keep writing. He calls his boss the next morning and says he's sticking with his decision. He's not going to take the promotion. He's going to keep writing, and that he'll figure out, life on his own. His dad drives into the airport this time. He doesn't take an Uber. He lets his dad drive into the airport. They take the long way. He has a sweet moment with his sister, and he leaves like a stuffed animal that he took from the hospital that was his mom's. He leaves that for Leigh. So it seems like Renn has come full circle. He is closer to his family. He is going to get better. He's going to deal with this grief, and he is like realizing, I guess, he's acknowledging a world without his mom, and that's kind of a sweet way to end this. He's in a better place at least than when he started, and he's going to keep trying to live his life. Now we also see at the very end there's a scene with him and his mom where like Renn decided to do what his mom did. He stole a sample spoon from like Baskin Robbins, those little cheap plastic spoons that they give you. He stole it in his shirt, and his mom is like, you shouldn't steal, but just this once, it's yours. And I think that's why Renn eventually took the espresso spoon from his mom, like the espresso spoon from his mom's house, because that reminded him of that scene. So that is the good half. Like I said, it is just a really kind of beautiful, wonderful film. I definitely think you should check it out when it comes to theaters on August 16th, 2024. It just has like this great cast in these very different roles and this wonderful balance of like drama and grief and pain, but also moments of levity and moments of brightness. So I definitely think you should watch it when it comes to theaters on August 16th, 2024. And if you do check it out, let me know what you think. Let me know what you like and didn't like. I would love to hear it. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.